Hi, this is Tony and Lati Casa Esmeralda. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for those who have liked and subscribed. Today marks around the 100th day of growing food here on my finca, olive fruit grove, home farm, homestead. So I wanted to show you exactly what I have been growing since the first week of June or the end of May. And so let's go take a look around, and we'll talk about some things like pesticides and herbicides and using all different types of things. I think where we're going to start off is the chickens and the chicks. So they are at, right now, watch out Lottie. So they are at now a month and 2 weeks, some of them. So they are getting big. One just really escaped here. I kind of so I'm kind of waiting for them to get a little bit bigger at 2 months, and one just sneaked in here. So one just sneaked in here and he thought, well, I'm gonna steal some chick food. Come here, sweeties. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. There you go. The brains of a chicken are not very smart. So there you guys go. There's your food back. Now we gotta close the door so that happens again. Pulled a little fast one, and now it's trying to figure out the easy way of trying to get food. And then we'll go over to the other chick brooder where their chicks are at a month or less. So here are the chicks, and actually I've been feeding them at nighttime, so I don't do like all the animal chores all at one time and stuff, because it gets too hard. So I've been kind of sleeping the last few days in the afternoon. Actually, like on Friday I crashed in the afternoon for like 3 hours because I'm just getting tired or worn out, and your body's feeling it. So just sleep, because you want to stay healthy, right? So I had one chick die, like that was in the coop for some forsaken reason or another. So there's always a possibility that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 chicks will die. They are farm animals. They will die, or they will be eaten sometime in the near future. That's the cycle of nature. So, but they're happy and fine. I really like this lantern, or this incubator lamp and stuff, and I think they're now on the last few days here where I can actually turn this off. So the battery system has been working good at night, giving off, being charged during the day and then running off the battery solar wind grid at nighttime. So, and then also the wind generator has been going at nighttime too, and that is also been charging the batteries in the house. So I've had a continuous supply of free energy going into the house. Basically free energy, and just living off the land for free. My property tax here is very low. The olives are doing really well. We've had like in a week it's been trying to rain here, but I said like in the month of August we had like 20 days of rain, very short rainfalls from like 15 minutes or an hour, but there was like 20 days of rain, which has really produced this olive. And like over a week ago, I would say there was too much water in these olives, because I can just tell by looking at them it's a little bit too juicy soft, and you don't want water in your olive oil. But there are a lot of olives out of the rain, though. There are a lot of olives. So if it doesn't rain here for 2 weeks time, and in this 32, 34 Celsius heat, which was today, these olives will start to dry out, and that's what you want. And then that's what makes a good olive oil. If you're making eating olives, these are also the eating olives or the cooking olives, and these are the extra virgin kind, where the best ones are picked last. So some olives will fall off the tree. Some olives will fall off the tree and they will fall to the ground, and you harvest the ones that the last olives, and that is the extra virgin olive oil. And you can also make these as eating olives. If they are not of olive oil quality, then you can just turn it around and make it of a nice fat juicy eating olive, and that way, and just can all of them or sell them. So let's go down to the natural garden. And the last of the violet figs, which I really enjoy, are growing here. And then these will stop like about second week of September, I think. Then all these violet figs will be gone here. So see, there's still some violet figs growing, and these are the sweet ones, which is right here. This one is not ready because I just took a nap and I got up and did some chores and fed the chicks, and then ate some of the ripe ones off of here, which I like to do. Seems like when I'm getting up out of a rest or a sleep, I get these fruit cravings, and this sort of keeps me going without coffee. Not much of a fan of coffee, really. So anyways, let's go down to the natural garden, which is really taken off. I've kind of left this foliage here, and the chickens are in here, so and they're kind of sorting away through this a little bit. It's getting a little bit too high for them. If I had goats or something like that, the goats would just totally mow this down in a day. So that's the next thing, is looking at getting some goats or sheep around here, because I do have the fencing in now, and they can all go in the back property here and put another fence in. But I was saying, like the chicks, I got Australorps, and then I have one Italian, and I got an Italian rooster, which is kind of an odd combination, since I bred an Italian rooster with black Australorps, and then an Italian with an Italian rooster with an Italian hen. And it's all good. And I collected 5 eggs yesterday, and I got 6 eggs yesterday and 5 eggs today. So this is the thing what happened on the 22nd, or before the 22nd. I think it was like the 21st. There was a lot of rain, and it was like 15 minutes of hail. And this was my cucumber melon, which was here, and there still is 2 that are sort of surviving and growing in here, which is right here. So there's one here, and then there's another one back there. So it's sort of growing, and it's like hanging on to its last little limb here, which is, I had one small one the other day, like the size of an apple, which was good, but I'm just kind of hanging off there. So this garden is just nature at work, doing its thing, just kind of turning itself over now. And as it is on to September the 2nd, 2018. And the melons, which have been really successful, and I've eaten like one of the melons, and there's some other ones which possibly won't make it, but some of them will. So there's like 2, 4, 6, 7, and there was like 8 in total. Oh, there's 9. So the ones that are yellow or yellow green will make it, and some of the other ones won't. But I have some nice melons for like 2 weeks time, and it looks like also the ants have now found the melons here, which is not a very good thing. Oh, those are like the ant fly. No, the ants have found it, so that's another thing. So then I have to pick them, and I want them to stay on for as long as possible. So This is all organic growing. I don't really I have not used any neem oil or any sprays in here. I just kind of left it as it is. And the pumpkin actually has been successful one way, but I planted 12 seeds of the pumpkin hermitage, and I planted 2 different kinds of pumpkin in here, and this has really taken off, but I was hoping to get at least 5 or 6, and then so 4 have taken off. Actually, there's like one here which is kind of in the blue, and it's kind of not really doing much. And this is what I had back in July, like with the Zucalungo. It sat around like that. It sat around like that for a whole entire month, and then all of a sudden it just started growing. So, and actually, yeah, the ants have been in here a little bit, and possibly something else, but I am not too worried. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, because I have not had a really big problem growing in the natural garden here. And then these are also pomodores or tomatoes that are going in here, and this is just in the last week and a half. These have really sprouted up. So, and this has been all good, but I'm really stoked on getting some pumpkin. And even if this gets a little, the leaves, if a few leaves get eaten or something like that, I'm still gonna get pumpkin, because for the ants to eat pumpkin leaf is pretty big. You need like thousands and thousands of ants for you to lose your garden. So it's not really worth spraying. I don't really want to spray in this garden here. And as I said before, these are like the tomatoes, and like I got hay, and then I just got sticks, and there's a whole bunch of like down tree in here, like this one over here, across here, like these brown leaves that have gone brown. So this is all decomposing, and I'm just gonna rake this over onto the garden, and then I'm gonna put hay on top of that, and it's gonna create a nice aerated area for growing, so it won't create a clampy dense soil area or something like that. It'll create a nice bouncy bed to really for the roots to grow on and everything. So this has all sort of been one way successful in growing, and all I do is give it I have been giving these ones my organic fertilizer, which is something to watch out for, because when you're giving out organic fertilizer, yes, there's always a high possibility that you're going to get attacked by insects or ants, because they love to eat also the organic fertilizer. So, and then the butternut, which is 1, and I had a package of like, I think there was like 8 butternuts and only 1 sprouted. So, and I'm still watering the whole area where I seeded, and maybe if there's a warm day or something will pop up here. So, and this Karub tree is the one that this gives off the leaves, and these leaves are high in nitrogen. And I just cut this tree down like over here, this Karub, and the leaves are the ones that really give off this high leafy growing sort of area, which is nice. Really nice. I had wild tomatoes growing down there, and that's mostly all gone. I just threw some tomato seeds down, and I got all about 3 or 4 kilos of wild tomatoes just growing, and I did nothing really, and it was just growing in the weeds. So see, and there's more olives here growing. So I have up on top here I have 16 olive trees, and then down in the back garden here there's like over 100 olive trees, which all actually still need work, but it's still harvestable. I'm just waiting for the first cold spell to come in, and then it's easier for me to work. And there's still some more figs growing here. A little bit. See, they're just trying to grow. And there's olives, and the pears are gone. I ate all the pears. I actually canned all the pears off that tree. And then this is more natural garden happening, where I've had these down trees just fall here, and there's all these sticks, and then I'm gonna sort it out, use some of it for firewood, and then the other part of it is I'm just gonna put hay on top like this, root stout planting method, and then this will be another garden area here. So the garden will stretch itself all the way down here. So for years and years there were these tall trees growing and nothing really planted or growing here, and I'm gonna try to grow food in along here in these patches, which will be nice. That Nespoli tree is getting kind of droopy. I have not really given it any water, but I'm not too worried about it. And the ants, they love to attack those Nespoli, the Italian plum trees. So, and then here is the fig tree. This fig tree has given me hundreds and the hundreds of figs. I must be eating figs off of this tree since the second week of June. So 2.5 months I've been eating figs off of this tree here, and they are absolutely lovely. So here are some small ones. I'm gonna grab one fig here or two, and these are really nice to eat. Sort of half ripe, but really good. Really nice, good afternoon snack. And then the pallet bin garden has not really been too successful, as the ants have attacked my zucchini again and left me with nothing. So except for the foliage, which is left over from a whole bunch of watermelon seeds that I've just thrown in here, and this is all good anyway, but this is the first planting, so I'm not too concerned really. As like when you do a first planting in an area which has never been planted or seeded before, there's only like maybe between a 20 and 40% chance that you're going to actually get some growing food in the first run. So this is all revitalization now, and then this will compost, and then this will turn this into a more rich soil, which is more suitable for planting. And then I'm trying in this area here where the ants were, and cabbage was supposed to grow in here, and there's mushrooms, and these are not of the edible kind. So the ants, what happens is the ants get onto nibbling the mushrooms, and then they get numb or high, and then they actually die if they overdose on this. So if they take a bite off of these mushrooms, which I've seen them do, and they get numb, and if they take too much of the mushroom, yes, then they die. So this is one method of ant control, is that you seed mushrooms, and you can go on the internet and see different methods of seeding mushrooms and that, or using different types of animal manure to get the right type of mushroom. So sooner or later this will all be seeded and planted. I just had a very successful up front. So there's really nothing in here. I think that is a pepper, because one, I did have like peppers and onions, and peppers are kind of funny. They kind of grow and then they stop growing, and then there's some more watermelon foliage in here, which has not been really successful. But out of all of it is the Zucca Lungo, which is really, so I got one Zucca Lungo here, which is still in the half growing stage. This is just over a week and a half, and actually in a 2.5 week period you could have a Zucalongo that's over, I'd say 60 or 70 centimeters. And then there's another one that's growing up there, another Zucalongo. And the ants have been trying to attack this, but all I do is I pull the leaves off, and then there's nothing for the ants to eat, and they just go somewhere else. So about irrigation systems, this is the Cyanoc irrigation system from Amazon, which is okay. Like when I first got it, I didn't really like it, but there's some things you can do with the Cyanoc, and that if you turn this, you can control the rate of feed of spray, which is nice. And then also on the back one there too, that is more of a mist type, which I have in the greenhouse. So I ordered 3 different types of irrigation systems, and I really like that one, the mist style, because when it's windy out and the wind's blowing either way, you get a nice spread of irrigation over your garden. So this is another Zucalongo here, and there have been some beetle ants or something of some sort in here, and this is about 2 weeks now growing. So this is just really taken off, and it'll go from here, and then it'll go all the way to about down here, and it's just hanging here. And I built this nice trellis, and I should build some more trellises for my other ones over here, because they're saying, when am I going to get a trellis? And I'm not just going to kill myself, I'm just going to take myself easy, because I got enough Zucalongos growing now. And for some forsaken reason, another zucchini which has popped up in here, a huge zucchini, and it's flowering, and it's trying to give me a zucchini. And I had a whole bunch growing in here, and it didn't go, and for some reason now it's trying to give me for the last 2 weeks a zucchini, and it has not given up. So I don't know what's going on with zucchini this year. It has not been very successful with me, but I have my Zucalongos, which is another type of zucca and squash. And then in here, which is another Zucalongo, so I'm gonna harvest this today. This is another one that's about 70 centimeters right here. Yeah, this guy is big. So he's huge. He's a nice curve right here, if everyone can see that. So I'm gonna harvest and eat this one today, and I'm deciding I'm gonna make like an Adriatic salad, or I'll make a pizza from it. See how much time I have. Probably making a salad is just easier. And then there's these ones, which is really nice. The potatoes are underneath. So the nice thing about growing in the pallet bins is that you can grow stuff underneath. So you can grow like potatoes underneath this, and all this foliage here underneath this. It's not like you're planting in the ground. When you plant in the ground, that's it. That you would only get like one stage vegetable. But the thing is that you can plant potatoes below, and then you can plant something above it, like a vine like this, pomodores, or you can plant a squash or a melon. Which I had in the melon is I found planting in the bins here to be very successful, because I had the 2 melons, the watermelons, back in July, August. I had 2 melons in that bin, and they were over 10 kilos each. So that was very successful. I really liked that. And then so I have these Roma style pomodores, which are growing here. And this whole bin here, there must be like 5 kilos of these ones, and they're still blooming. So this is only one bush. This is only one bush of tomato, which was only one stalk. And I just watched it one day, and it just started growing and growing and growing, and it grew into this huge tomato bush, which has been really successful. And there's all like the Roma style tomatoes in here. I don't want to get too close to the irrigation, but these are all full. Like there's like a dozen in here, there's like a dozen over here, a dozen. So there's like 5 kilos coming in the next week or so. At least a week, I say, until these guys get red. And then there's more blooming, which I'm really stoked about. And then the Zucalongo, which is the one in the greenhouse, is being attacked by the ants. And these ones are still growing, so these ones are like over a week and a half now growing, and there's another one up here too that's growing. So there's a green kind, and then there's a dark green kind, and then there's a light green kind, which I'm growing, and these are all good, and I've really enjoyed this very much. So we're gonna go in the greenhouse here. And King Dewey irrigation system's on. I've had this irrigation system now for a year, and I've had some failures, like the lines popping or the lines coming apart from it from Amazon. But it has still made me very successful in the herbal area, which is giving me the mist. And I got all my basil, and I got new basil growing here. And there's thyme, there's oregano, there's rosemary, there's aloe vera, there's more majoran, there's parsley, there's the celery is back there, the chives, and then there's also the 3 different kinds of basil going in here. So what I think I'm gonna do is, well, see if the computer gets wet. I don't want the camera to get wet. And then here I planted squash and pumpkin again, and the ants just terrorized this whole thing. So my philosophy is that ants are actually a cleanup crew, and that there's something wrong with this bed, because after a while, when there's nothing wrong with planting or growing, the ants just kind of go away. See, there's like one seed is like right there, I can see it, but nothing is really shown up here. And then I just picked all the leaves off of here. I did spray some neem oil around the bottom on the ground on the pot, which I didn't really like doing, and it wasn't really helpful, because with neem oil you need to spray every day for at least a month, and then the ants will go away. But the only problem is that if the concentration of the neem oil and the hemp soap is too much, it'll actually kill the plant, and you won't get any food at all. So I just sprayed one day, and I thought, well, this is not a good idea anymore. I'm just gonna stop spraying. And then out of this, I think this is a pepper, came up some more. So out of the ants, there are things that came up and they just started growing. And my pomodores here are now on, the tomatoes are on their 2nd growth, and there possibly will be a 3rd growth, as in here, like back here you can see there are more tomatoes that are growing. And then I have the Austrian wild mountain cabbage, which is really nice. And I have what looks to be like peppers. So before the summer started, I planted peppers, and they have not germinated, and all of a sudden in the last week and a half or 2 weeks, I've had these red peppers germinate, which will be a which is really nice. And then my bananas, which are growing here now. So my bananas in these pots, they're started to really taking off, and they really like my organic fertilizer, which is really good. And then the radish, I just kind of leave it as it is, and this is now over 2.5 weeks of radish, and or like 2 weeks of radish, and then this is all edible. So I think I need to eat some salad tonight. And then the winter lettuce, and then this one is like another from the Zucalongo from the outside going out the door here. And then this pomodoro got eaten by ants or something of another, and it has not given me like a lot of tomatoes, or like pomodores on this side of the greenhouse has not been a lot, but on this side of the greenhouse it has been a lot of tomatoes. So this has been all good. And then these are my red hot piquant peppers, which are here. So these are like they're green and they will go red. And these are the long ones, and I'm a real big fan, I said, like of the hot peppers, which are here, and there's more peppers and peppers and peppers and peppers, which is really nice to make the piquant olive oil, or for cooking or seasoning or making salsas. And then also in the last 2.5 weeks I've had beetola in here, and then the ants have gotten to this beetola, which this is really nice and fresh and edible. And this is the chard, or mangold as the Germans say, and that is so delicious and sweet. It's almost like eating spinach, but it's a chard. So, and I got more pomodores back there. So these are all pomodores, and they're growing on their second growth now. As long as I have the Adriatic temperature here of 30 plus degrees, which has happened, I'm going to get second or third growth on my tomatoes. And then when October comes around, I just keep the door shut, and there will be midday temperatures in this greenhouse of 30 plus degrees, and I'm going to still have tomatoes, which is a phenomenal thing which you can grow here in the South Adriatic, is that you can have pomodori tomatoes for 4 months, or 300 days a year of sunshine. So this is the one regional area where the pomodori tomatoes, they really do shine, and they really have a high yield and high production. So as I helped my neighbor last year on his farm farther down the road for a few days, and there was just so many tomatoes growing. So I haven't left my house now in almost a week, and I've been just eating this food, making salads, making pizzas, scrambled eggs, all sorts of different types of food. And just a phenomenal year. This is something I looked forward to when I first moved in here, and I tried to plant on the ground, and it was not very successful. And I spent about 2 years now of researching and finding other methods of planting. And also, when you use a tiller here, the weeds, they just come back up again, and you end up doing so much weeding work that it's almost not worth planting, right? So I've decided to plant above the ground, and this has been very successful for me. And then the chickens, they all come in here, and as I said, like I've been filling this bin up here where the watermelons are. I've been filling this bin up here, and now I'm getting stoked. I want to plant like sweet potatoes, or I have the bulb radish, which I seeded in there, and it's almost a week and a half. It's almost 2 weeks since I put the bulb radish in the white flat, and it has not come yet, so I don't know what's happening with that. But anyways, so after I harvest this, I want to plant in this bin again, because I'm going to have some open space here. So that is the nice thing about having bins in an area where things have been successful, and that they are fertilized. Because when I put these bins in, I did use a lot. I had a lot of chicken manure, and then in my back bins I had very, very little chicken manure at all, or none at all. And that was the thing, is that these vegetables, for any yield or any high yield, you need the chicken manure, right? And the organic fertilizer, especially with the red peppers, with the red hot peppers. They were like so small for like a whole entire month and a half, and then I started giving it like every day my organic fertilizer, and they just took off, and as you saw that. So this has been a really nice year for me, that I can kind of stay at home and just eat all my food off the land. So I want to add more and keep adding more and more in this till I get a nice mound, and then I just I have a bag left over from the winter, of a little bit left, and the chickens, and I just put more chicken manure on top, and then I plant some winter stuff like potatoes and fennel, which would be nice, and sweet potatoes and that sort of thing, and I'll have a nice big yield of sweet potatoes and stuff like that, which I've had under here. I've been able to dig out just through the hay, and with my hand I've been able to dig out like a dozen potatoes already. So, and I just leave it, you know, just leave it in there. There's nothing wrong with them. Those potatoes, they will stay for like 5 months, 4 or 5 months. They will stay in the ground for you, and especially if they're in the hay, and they'll just keep growing, right? So, you know, it's like if you have a bin like this, even if you have a barrel like this and you plant potatoes in something like this, or if you plant in a bin, your yield of potatoes is greater than actually planting in the ground, because it's very aerated, and it's not like so clampy together as you would with regular planting. And this ground here is like rock hard solid. So if you would plant here in the ground potatoes, it would not go, and you would need to use the tiller and gasoline and everything, and you'd probably end up going through tillers like every 3 years or 5 years. You would end up getting a new tiller, the amount of work you need to do for planting. Okay, so, and everyone's happy, like all the farm animals are happy, and the farmers here have been very helpful in providing me with this hay for very low cost price. Like for a few dollars, you know, I've been able to get these 300 kilo bales of hay. Like, these are huge, so I can't unload this really myself up in the truck. So I have a method of unloading this, and I just drive off fast, and it just falls out the back of the trailer, so I cannot push this off my trailer itself. But everyone and the animals are happy and stuff. So slowly upgrading the infrastructure, and just getting all the infrastructure in base, and then getting later on the larger farm animals, which are the goats and the sheep, and maybe a cow. And the bees have been so what happened in the greenhouse was I had a hive in there, and then on the 21st there was the hailstorm, and basically the bees that were in there, the next day they were like all gone. So they did not survive that. It just got too cold that one night when the hail came in here and the big thunder and rainstorm. But I opened the hive, so today is Sunday, I opened this hive on Friday, and there still was a dozen bees in here, which I'm still happy about. So it means the queen has been working, but she's, as I said before, she's been very lazy in this hive, and they've really sort of, the amount has gone down, but they did survive the hailstorm, so they will be able, hopefully the queen, she will be able to survive the winter here, because the winters are a lot warmer here in southern Europe than they are anywhere else, and the midday temperatures and things like that. So, and there will be other videos on how I prepare the hive for winter, and then by next year I will have more bees for sure in this thing. So this is like, it takes a long time, takes you more than a couple years, 5 years I would say, to start up a really good living off the land sort of area. So this has been all good. I just wanted to share, and I hope that you like my channel, and then please do like and subscribe. And it's Tony and Letty, Casa Esmeralda, and thank you for those who have liked and subscribed. I hope I have inspired you and sharing with you on several methods of planting, several methods of irrigation, several methods of dealing with bugs and ant control, and different methods of not using any chemicals or herbicides or pesticides, and then just being safe. So thank you very much, and take care, and bye for now.